Judge Marcus Thompson was finishing his day at the Kingsbridge Courthouse in downtown Atlanta, ready to head home. The evening sky painted streaks of orange and purple across the skyline as he stepped onto the quiet street, looking forward to a brief moment of calm before the night. Dressed in a tailored suit, he looked every bit the respected jurist he was, composed, calm, and unaware that the world around him was about to erupt. Suddenly, red and blue flashing lights reflected off the wet pavement, and a police siren sliced through the air. "Hands where we can see them," a commanding voice shouted. Two white female police officers jumped from a patrol car, guns raised. Marcus froze, stunned. "Is there a problem, officers?" he asked calmly. "Face the wall." Now one barked. Before he could respond further, they shoved him against a brick wall. His case clattered to the ground, kicked aside. "You match a description," one officer said, smirking. "I'm a federal judge," Marcus replied evenly. "You're making a mistake." Their laughter grew, and cold handcuffs snapped onto his wrists. His heart pounded, not with fear, but with disbelief and anger. How could this happen to someone who had upheld the law for decades? Then, the sound of screeching tires split the tension. A black SUV came to an abrupt stop behind the cruiser. Out stepped a tall black woman in a crisp U.S. Marshal's uniform, her gaze piercing. Two men in suits followed, scanning the scene with intensity. "Uncuff him," she commanded, her voice authoritative. The officers froze, shock written across their faces. "That man is Judge Marcus Thompson," she continued, voice controlled. "You just assaulted a federal judge." The color drained from their faces. Hands trembled as the cuffs were removed. We didn't know," one stammered. Marcus adjusted his jacket and stood tall. "You didn't care to know," he said. "You saw a black man and assumed guilt. That's the problem." He turned to the marshal. "File the report. I want these officers off the street immediately." The officers dropped to their knees, pleading, but Marcus didn't gloat. He walked away, shoulders squared, leaving them to face the consequences. Back at his office, the warm glow of the desk lamp illuminated his face. He reviewed the misconduct report, stamping it urgent. "Send this to Internal Affairs and the Civilian Review Board." "No delays," he instructed. 2 days later, Atlanta erupted. News channels broadcast the story. Federal judge wrongfully arrested by police. Social media erupted. Hashtag JusticeForJudge Thompson, hashtag Stop Racist Policing, hashtag Black Lives Matter. Marcus remained composed, thinking beyond himself, about every young black man walking these streets, vulnerable to the same assumptions, the same injustice. At the courthouse, he testified before the city's police oversight committee. Lawyers, activists, and officials filled the room. The officer sat nervously, stripped of authority. "I've served this city for over 25 years, Marcus began. "I've enforced the law, protected the innocent, and yet last night, I was humiliated for the color of my skin." Gasps rippled through the room. Body cam footage played, showing every shove, every mocking laugh. The evidence was undeniable. The committee acted swiftly. The officers were fired, barred from returning to law enforcement. Justice had been served, not out of vengeance, but through truth and accountability. Marcus continued advocating for systemic change. The mayor announced a citywide review of police practices, mandatory racial bias training, independent oversight, and immediate suspension for officers involved in complaints. Word of his courage spread. Students wrote letters expressing gratitude. Communities rallied. Marcus became a symbol, a man who walked quietly into danger and demanded accountability, transforming fear into action. Months later, he returned to the very sidewalk where he had been handcuffed. A small plaque now marked the spot, a reminder of courage and justice. Children played nearby, officers engaged respectfully with community members. The city wasn't perfect, but change had begun, and it had begun with one man refusing to stay silent. Marcus whispered to himself, this was for everyone who never had a voice. Stand up, speak out, and never ignore injustice in your community. Share this story to inspire accountability and courage, because justice begins when someone refuses to stay silent.